All right, let's dive right in. We're going to tackle a topic that I know can feel a little intimidating on the CMA Part 1 syllabus, regression analysis. But my goal today is to show you that it's not something to be scared of. In fact, it's one of the most powerful forecasting tools you'll ever use as a management accountant. So let's get to it. And I really do get it. When you see a word like regression, it's pretty natural to kind of want to pump the brakes. I've worked with so many students who feel a little bit of dread around this specific topic. But I want you to think of this session less like a lecture and more like our strategy meeting. We're just going to break it down together, one simple piece at a time. At the end of the day, that's all this is. Seriously. As a management accountant, people are always asking you to predict what's coming around the corner. Regression analysis just takes that process from a gut feeling and gives it a solid statistical backbone. It's really just about finding the real relationship between what happened yesterday to tell a much more accurate story about what's going to happen tomorrow. Okay, now let's get to the real heart of it. We are going to look at the one formula you absolutely positively have to know for the exam, but don't let the letters scare you. We're about to translate this from abstract math into a language we all understand, accountant speak.
And here it is. This is the simple linear regression formula. You're going to see this a lot, so get comfortable with it. This is your key. For the CMA exam, this is the one you need to have locked into your memory. Every single part of this little equation tells a really crucial part of a financial story.
Think of this slide as your secret decoder ring. Y is your total cost. That's the big number you're trying to predict. A is your fixed cost. You know, the baseline cost even if you do absolutely nothing. B, the slope, well, that's just your variable cost per unit, how much costs go up for each thing you do. And X is the driver, the thing you're doing, like machine hours. See, it's basically just a fancy cost formula in disguise. Okay, so you've run the numbers, you've plugged everything in, and you have a prediction. Now what? Well, the exam loves to ask the next logical question. How good is that prediction really? How much can you trust this model? To answer that, we need to look at a couple of key metrics that measure the, quote, goodness of fit.
So over on the left, you've got R, the correlation coefficient. It's useful. It tells you if there's a relationship and which way it's going. But, and I want you to really hear this, the rock star of the show for the CMA exam is over on the right, R squared, the coefficient of determination. This is the one you need to laser focus on. It tells you how much of the change in your total cost is actually explained by whatever your cost driver is.
Let's make this super concrete. So an exam question tells you that R squared is 0.85. What in the world does that mean? It's actually pretty simple. It means that 85% of the reason your total costs are changing can be explained by the changes in, say, your machine hours. That's it. So the higher that number, the more confident you can be that your model actually works. Now, before you get too excited and start using this formula for everything, we have to talk about its limits. And the exam will absolutely test you on these, so let's think of them as traps to watch out for. These are the built-in assumptions you just have to remember. First, linearity. The model only works if the relationship between your costs and your driver is a straight line. Pretty simple. Second, and this one is a huge exam trap, the relevant range. Look, if all your data is based on producing between, say, 1,000 and 5,000 units, you cannot use this formula to predict costs for 50,000 units. The prediction is only valid inside the range of your original data. And finally, you gotta watch out for outliers. One weird month, like a factory shutdown, can throw your entire result way off. So let's pull all this together into one final, crystal clear takeaway. Why do we go through all this trouble? Why bother with regression analysis at all? What's the ultimate goal here for us as management accountants? Here's the big picture. Number one, the goal is to take a messy set of data and statistically separate your fixed costs from your variable costs. Number two, the result of doing that is you can create far more accurate budgets and forecasts. And number three, the advantage. Because this method uses all the data points, it is always more precise than simpler methods like the high-low method, which you'll also see on the exam. So if you remember nothing else for exam day, I want you to remember this. Know the formula y equals a plus bx. Always, always check your R squared to see how reliable your model is. And please never make a prediction outside of the relevant range. If you can master those 3 points, you have pretty much mastered the core of regression for the CMA exam. So I'm going to leave you with this question, and I want you to think beyond just passing an exam. This is a real tool you'll use in the real world. So how are you going to take this knowledge and apply it to make your next budget, your next forecast, that much more accurate and that much more valuable? You've got this. Keep up the amazing work.